I stitched my torn shoes and walked miles every day just to save money for our wedding. But when the day arrived, she stood beside someone else, leaving me shattered. I'm writing this at 3 a.m. because I can't sleep anymore. Haven't been able to for 3 months now. Every time I close my eyes, I see her standing there in that white dress, but not for me. Want to know what real betrayal looks like? It's not the dramatic movie stuff. It's finding out fiancé has been planning her wedding to someone else while stitching holes in shoes with dental floss because gave her every penny had. Let me back. 2 years ago Sarah was everything. We met at a coffee shop where I was counting quarters to afford a small black coffee, and she bought me a sandwich without asking. Said I looked like I needed it. She wasn't wrong. I was working 3 jobs, sleeping 4 hours a night, saving every cent for our future. When we get married, she'd say, tracing circles on my chest, I want the whole thing. The dress, the venue, the flowers. I want to feel like a princess for one day. So I made it happen. Or tried to. I walked 8 miles to work instead of taking the bus. Saved $12 a day. I ate ramen for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 6 months straight. When my shoes got holes, I didn't buy new ones. I learned to sew from YouTube videos, patching them with whatever fabric I could find. My coworkers started calling me Frankenstein feet because of how my shoes looked, all different colored patches holding them together. Sarah knew. She'd watch me leave for those long walks, my feet already blistering in those raggedy shoes. Sometimes she'd offer me her car, but I always said no. Every dollar saved gets us closer to dream day, I'd tell her. She'd smile in my forehead. Or incredible Jake, I'm so lucky. I believed her. For 18 months I lived like a monk. No movies, no restaurants, no new clothes. When my phone screen cracked, I lived with spiderweb glass my fingers because a repair cost money we didn't have. When my friends invited me out, I'd make excuses because I couldn't afford a single. Jake's become boring, I heard my buddy Mike tell another friend. Holy talks about his wedding savings. They weren't wrong. I had become obsessed. Every sacrifice felt noble, every dollar saved felt like love in action. I kept a notebook where I'd write down our wedding fund progress. Start at 0, watch it grow. 31 at pseudo 2896, E11847. There I'd show Sarah the numbers sometimes, proud like a kid showing off a good report card. She'd always react the right way. Excited gasps, tight hugs, promises of how perfect our day would be. By month 12, my shoes were more patched than original material. The soles were so thin I could feel every pebble on the sidewalk. My feet developed permanent edges where the patches met. But we had 200 saved. We're actually doing this. Sarah whispered one night looking at the bank statement. We're really gonna have our wedding. Month 15, I got promoted to shift supervisor at the warehouse. Extra $50 an hour. Sarah cried happy tears when I told her. Now we can have the upgraded package, she said, showing me pictures on her phone. The one with the better flowers in the open bar. I worked overtime every chance I got. The new position meant more responsibility, longer hours, but also more money. My shoes finally gave out completely that winter, the soles separating from the upper during a particularly brutal 14-hour shift. I duct taped them back together in the break room, wrapping gray tape around my feet like some kind of sad mummy. Dude, just buy new shoes, my supervisor said, shaking his head. Make decent money now. But I couldn't, we were at 7,800 and climbing. Sarah had found the perfect venue. The perfect dress, the perfect everything. All we needed was 200 more and we'd have enough for the full package she'd dreamed about. Month 18 arrived with spring weather and hope. I'd walked probably 2,000 miles in those patched shoes, but we were almost there. 9,400 in the wedding fund. Sarah was glowing, making final plans, sending invitations. 2 more months, she'd say, marking days off the calendar. 2 more months and we'll be husband and wife. I started letting imagine it. The moment I'd see her walking down the aisle. The look in her eyes when she realized I'd made every one of her dreams come true through pure determination and sacrifice. The respect in my friends' eyes when they saw what love could accomplish. The invitations went out on a Tuesday. Beautiful cream, colored cardstock with elegant script. Sarah Mitchell and Jake Harrison request presents. I held one in my hands for 20 minutes that day, just staring at our names to official, real, happening. 3 weeks later she asked to meet for coffee. Same place we'd met, which felt romantic. I wore my best shirt, the one I'd been saving for special occasions. Even put on my newest pair of socks. She was already there when I arrived. Sitting at our usual table was off. Her hands were shaking. She couldn't meet my eyes. We need to talk, she said. Those 4 words. The ones that change everything. I've been thinking a lot lately, she continued, her voice barely above a whisper. About us, about what I want, about what I deserve. I felt my stomach drop, but I forced a smile. Whatever it is, we can work through it. We're so close now. Just 5 more weeks. That's when she looked at me, and I saw something in her eyes I'd never seen before. Pity, Jake, I can't marry. The coffee shop kept moving around us, people laughing, phones buzzing, the espresso machine hissing. Normal continuing while mine shattered into pieces. I don't understand, I managed. I met someone, she said quickly, like ripping off a bandage. His name is David, he's a lawyer. Jake, he can give me things never could. I stared at her, waiting for the punchline, just kidding, the anything that would make this make sense. Things like what? I asked. Security, a real future. Where I don't have to watch my boyfriend walk miles in shoes held together with tape because we can't afford proper ones. Each word hit like a physical. I gave everything, I whispered. I lived on nothing for 18 months. Look at my feet, Sarah. Look at these shoes, every patch, every mile walked, every sacrifice, all for, I know, she said, and now she was crying too. That's what makes this so hard. Or a good person, Jake, but good isn't enough anymore. I want more than just getting by. I want someone who can take care of me without it being such a struggle. The money we saved, keep it. Consider it payment for the time we had together. She stood then, gathering her purse, avoiding my eyes. Sarah, please, we can figure this out. I got the promotion, remember? She paused at the table edge, and for a second I thought she might change her mind. The wedding is still happening, Jake. Same date, same venue. I couldn't get the deposits back, and David said not to worry about the cost. The words hit me like ice water. We're marrying him, in 5 weeks, she whispered. I really am. And then she was gone, leaving me alone with a cold cup of coffee and the sound of my world ending. I sat there for 2 hours after she left, staring at those cream-colored invitations scattered on the table. Our names printed together in elegant script, now meaningless. When I finally stood to leave, my patched shoes squelched against the coffee shop floor, and I realized I'd been crying into my lap the whole time. The woman behind the counter looked at me with that same pity I'd seen in Sarah's eyes. I walked home night 8 miles in those ridiculous, broken shoes, and for the first time in 18 months, the distance felt infinite. I still have those shoes in my closet, by the way. Can't bring to throw them away. They're the only proof I have that once upon a time, I loved someone enough to walk through in torn sneakers believing it would lead to heaven. The worst part about betrayal isn't the initial shock. It's the slow-motion disaster that follows, where every day brings fresh humiliation never saw coming. 3 days after Sarah destroyed my world at that coffee shop, I was back at work pretending everything was normal. My supervisor asked how wedding planning was going. I smiled and said great, because what else do say? That fiancé is marrying someone else in dream venue that bled for. The invitations were already out there, floating around our friend groups, family members, co-workers. Beautiful cream cardstock announcing a wedding that would still happen, just without the groom who paid for it. Mike cornered me during lunch break on Thursday. Bro, what's this I'm hearing about Sarah and some lawyer? Word travels fast in small circles. Apparently, Sarah hadn't time introducing David around. They'd been seen at restaurants I could never afford, him buying her jewelry that cost more than my monthly salary. How long? Mike asked when I couldn't answer. How long was she seeing him while we're saving for the wedding? That's the question that haunted me. I started doing detective work I should have done months earlier. Social media deep dives at 2 a.m., looking for clues I'd missed. Found them everywhere. David's Instagram post from 4 months ago showing dinner at expensive restaurants. In the background of one photo barely visible, a woman's hand with Sarah's distinctive ring, the promise ring I'd given her for our 1-year anniversary. 4 months. She'd been with him for 4 months while I walked through winter slush and shoes held together with hope and dental floss. My phone buzzed constantly that week. Friends wanting explanations. Family members confused about wedding details. Sarah's mom called Tuesday night crying, asking if I was okay. She didn't tell us until yesterday. Mrs. Mitchell sobbed into the phone. Jake, honey, I'm so sorry. I don't understand what happened to my daughter. That conversation broke some inside me that hadn't broken yet. Sarah's parents had loved me. Treated me like the son they never had. Her dad had shaken my hand after I asked for Sarah's hand in marriage, tears in his eyes, telling me he couldn't think of anyone better for his little girl. Now they were mourning too. Their daughter had become a stranger to them. The real twist came Thursday afternoon when my phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. Jake. This is David Patterson, Sarah's new fiancé, calling me directly. I wanted to reach out man to man. He continued when I didn't respond. Sarah told me about situation, and I want to know I have nothing but respect for what did for her. Respect. He respected me while stealing my. What do want? I managed. I want to make this easier for everyone. I know put a lot of money into the wedding plans, and I don't want to lose that investment. He talked about my savings like a stock portfolio. I'm prepared to reimburse for any expenses can document. Seems like the right thing to do. The right thing. This man who'd been sleeping with my fiancée for months wanted to do the right thing. Keep money. I said and hung, but the damage was done. Now I knew he was rich enough to casually offer to buy my pain away. Probably didn't even need to check his account balance before making the offer. That weekend, I made the mistake of driving past the venue. Woodbridge Gardens, the place Sarah had fallen in love with during our tour 8 months earlier. She grabbed my arm when we walked into the main reception hall, gasping at the chandeliers and floor, took ceiling windows. This is it, she'd whispered. This is where I want to marry. The deposit had been $2,400. I'd saved for 3 months just for that down payment, eating nothing but dollar store pasta, and walking an extra 2 miles each day to save bus fare. As I sat in my car staring at the building, a delivery truck pulled, wedding flowers, massive arrangements of white roses and baby's breath, the exact combination Sarah had shown me in bridal magazines. My flowers, paid for with my raiment and water budget. I watched the florist carry arrangement after arrangement inside, each one representing another sacrifice I'd made. Another day I'd chosen love over comfort. The irony was suffocating. In 5 days Sarah would walk down an aisle decorated with flowers I'd budgeted for, wearing a dress I'd helped pay for, in a venue I'd sacrificed everything to book. She'd look beautiful, radiant, like the princess she'd always wanted to be. And I'd be where exactly? That question led to my biggest mistake yet. Sunday night, unable to sleep, I decided I needed to see it. Needed to witness what my 18 months of sacrifice had built. Not to cause drama or make a scene, just to see the ending I'd written but wouldn't star in. I told it would bring closure. I put on my best clothes, the same outfit I'd planned to wear as a wedding guest back when I thought I'd be celebrating Sarah's happiness from the sidelines. Drove to Woodbridge Gardens and parked across the street. The parking lot filled slowly, cars I recognized. Sarah's college friends, our mutual acquaintances, family members who'd watched our relationship grow. Then the bridal party arrived. Sarah's sister Emma got out of the first car, wearing the bridesmaid dress Sarah had shown me on her phone months ago. Emma's gonna look so pretty, she'd said then. Almost makes me I could see the wedding from the guest perspective. More bridesmaids. Sarah's cousin, her best friend from high school. Girls I'd hung out with at barbecues, who told me I was perfect for Sarah, who'd helped plan the bachelorette party I'd helped fund. None of them looked happy. They moved like people going to a funeral, not a celebration. Then came the groom's party. David's groomsmen were exactly what to expect. Expensive suits, perfect haircuts, the kind of confident posture that comes from never having to patch shoes or count quarters for coffee. David himself arrived in a black BMW that probably cost more than I'd make in 3 years. Tall, handsome in that generic successful guy way. The kind of man who looked like he belonged in wedding photos. The kind of man who'd never understand why someone would walk 8 miles to save $12. I should have left then. Should have driven home and tried to rebuild whatever was left of my dignity. Instead, I got out of my car and walked closer. I told I just wanted to see the front of the building, maybe catch a glimpse of the decorations I'd helped pay for. But really, I think I wanted to punish. Wanted to feel the full weight of what I'd lost. The ceremony was starting. I could hear music from inside, the classical pieces Sarah had played for me from her phone while we planned our future. I found at the side of the building where floor-to-ceiling windows showed the entire reception hall. Perfect view of the altar where Sarah and I should have been standing. That's when I saw her. Sarah, in the dress she dreamed about. Flowing white silk beaded bodice, the cathedral-length veil she'd insisted was worth the extra cost. She looked exactly like the princess she'd wanted to be. Beautiful, glowing, happy. Standing next to a man who could give her everything I couldn't. The officiant was talking but I couldn't hear the words through the glass. Didn't matter, I knew the script. Had imagined it playing out with me as the groom hundreds of times. David took her hands, same gesture I'd pictured making. Sarah's smile was radiant. The same smile she'd given me when I'd shown her our growing wedding fund. When I'd surprised her with the venue booking. When she'd said yes to marrying me. Had any of it been real? The crowd cheered. Rice flew through the air. Sarah had wanted rice instead of birdseed because it looked better in photos. I stood there watching my money turn into someone else's happily ever after. That's when Emma saw me, Sarah's sister, looking out the window during the celebration, her eyes scanning the grounds. When her gaze met mine through the glass, her face went white. She said something to another bridesmaid who looked my way too. Then another person noticed. Like a virus of awareness spreading through the reception, I should have run then. Should have disappeared before the situation got worse. Instead, I just stood there, frozen, watching my former celebrate without me. Emma was walking toward the window now, her face a mixture of pity and panic. She was mouthing something I couldn't understand, making gestures for me to leave. But it was too late. Sarah had noticed the commotion, followed Emma's gestures, turned toward the window. Our eyes met through the glass. Her face went from radiant joy to pure horror in seconds. She grabbed David's arm, pointing toward where I stood. The entire wedding party was looking now. 100 people turning to stare at the pathetic ex-fiancé watching from outside like some kind of. David stepped toward the window, his jaw set, looking like he was about to come outside and have words with me. That's when I finally ran. Sprinted across the parking lot to my car, my dress shoes slipping on the asphalt. Fumbled with the keys while my hand shook. Got in and drove away as fast as I could, but not before seeing David following me outside, probably getting my license plate number. I made it home and in my bathroom sink. Then I sat on my kitchen floor and cried until I had nothing left. The next morning my phone had 17 missed calls, messages from mutual friends, family members, even people I barely knew. Word had spread fast about my wedding crash appearance. The text from Sarah came at 6 a.m. as Jake, what did yesterday was inappropriate and hurtful. David and I deserve to start our marriage without from. Please respect our boundaries going forward. Like I was some kind of instead of the man who'd paid for her dream day. Mike called an hour later. Dude, everyone's talking about it. They're saying showed to spy on the wedding like some creepy ex. That's what the story had become. Not the man who'd sacrificed everything for love, only to be betrayed. Just the weird guy who couldn't let go. The humiliation was complete now. Not only had I lost Sarah, I'd lost my dignity too. I'd become the cautionary tale people would tell about pathetic exes who couldn't move on. And the worst part, I deserved. I'd made every wrong choice possible. Trusted completely. Sacrificed everything, ignored red flags. Then showed to at her wedding like some masochistic fool. The man who'd walked miles in patched shoes for love had become the man who'd lurked outside windows watching that love celebrate with someone else.